22 years ago, the Sugar Bowl worked with the Manning family to create the Manning Award. There are a lot of awards out there, but we take great pride in being one of the few that includes the entire postseason in our selection process. And as this year has shown us, it's been an impressive postseason for our honoree. Uh, we've had the opportunity to recognize a great list of outstanding college quarterbacks through the years. And this year, we're honored to add yet another superstar to our list of honorees, Indiana's Fernando Mendoza. At this time, I'd like to turn things over to Archie Manning to talk a little about Fernando and welcome him to the Manning Award family. Archie, take over.
Thank you, Suds. I can't tell you what a thrill and a pleasure it is for me today to be part of this. We want to congratulate Fernando. So, Suds, is he the 22nd or 23rd? Whatever. We've been doing it 22 years. The Manning Award. And this is an outstanding winner for us. Nothing. We had a great group of quarterbacks in college football this year, and I'd like to tell you that this was close, but it wasn't. Fernando has had one of the great seasons that any collegiate quarterback has ever had, and of course, climaxed by a great national championship win, an undefeated season. I can go on and on. Heisman Trophy, various awards. Just the And I don't want to take the time today, but I will tell you, we had him at the Manning Passing Academy, not last year in 25, but 2 years ago when he was the quarterback at Cal. And it was just, we all just kind of, as they say, fell for Fernando right away, his personality, the way he mixed with the other quarterbacks, the way he coached up kids throughout that camp, and just the type of person he is. So, without further ado, it's just a real pleasure for me on behalf of my sons, the entire Manning family, that we recognize Fernando Mendoza as our 2026 Manning Award winner.
Fernando, if you can make a little brief opening statement and say what this means to you to earn the Manning Award.
Sounds good. How's everyone doing? This is Fernando Mendoza. I first want to give all the glory and all the thanks to God. And like Mr. Manning said, I was able to meet and interact with the Manning family 2 years back in Thibodaux. It was, it was hot, it was swampy, but that was one of the greatest experiences of my life because I got to interact with Mr. Manning, Peyton, Eli, Cooper, and the entire Manning family. And being a young quarterback and always aspiring with another brother as a quarterback, younger brother, Alberto Mendoza, aspiring to be like the Manning brothers, to actually interact with the entire Manning family, see their true colors, and see all the true values and traditions that the Manning family upholds and represents in the football sphere is everything that I strive and want to be one day. Still a long way to go, but one day. Not only just as a player, but as characters all around. And so receiving this award, I say it's the only award that acknowledges postseason feats and postseason contests. It's such an honor. And like I said before, can't give enough glory and thanks to God. And just the idolization of a football family, the Manning family, not only on the field, but off the field, is something I'm so proud to represent. And can't give enough thanks to the Manning family and everybody else involved, like the Sugar Bowl.
Thank you very much, Fernando. We'll now open it up to questions. We'll ask if you use the react button to raise your hand. That's the heart down at the bottom. We'll start with Bill Bender from the Sporting News. And we do ask if you could please identify yourself by name and media outlet before you ask the question. Bill, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for doing this, John. Bill Bender with Sporting News. Fernando, you kind of just talked about it a little bit, but as you get ready for this NFL draft process, what are some of the things that you have taken from observing and being around the Manning family? Obviously, a long track record of success between them.
Yeah, so 2 years back in Thibodaux, I got a lot of great advice developing myself as a college quarterback on what type of things to look on off the field and off season, what Peyton's structure was off the field, how he looked at all the interceptions he threw, and how the almost interception he threw, as well as touchdowns and almost touchdowns. And that is something that I took directly from that offseason. As beginning my career, right now I'm known as a very efficient passer, but early in my career, especially at Cal, I had a huge turnover problem. not only interceptions but also fumbles. And I think that was a great way and kind of the turning point in that solution, and something that I always look to improve on, as turnover ratio is a huge part of the game. And then also, after being a part of the Manning Passing Academy, having a direct line of contact to Mr. Manning, to Peyton, to Eli, to Cooper, and asking them questions, getting the insight, and really taking advantage of that resource has been a huge compliment to my game and a huge part of my game this season. And I look forward to growing that relationship. Not only whenever I'm, texting or calling, but yesterday I watched an hour-long podcast that Eli did about, how he transitioned into the league and some of the troubles and mistakes that he did that he had that led him to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback and having such a successful career. So I really look forward to, you know, building on the relations that we have, because it's helped me so much to this point.
Thank you.
We'll now go to Sammy Jacobs from Hoosier Huddle.
Fernando, excuse me, Sammy Jacobs from Hoosier Huddle. Your playoff run of passing and the efficiency, did winning the Heisman take some of the pressure off or the distractions away so that you could focus and have that elite performance?
My goal whenever talking to media is always try to be authentic and always, convey a message that's going to help best my team. And now that we're out of the season and now that we accomplished the goal of winning the national championship, I can bluntly tell you the Heisman is everywhere on social media. And myself having deleted social media definitely took the edge off. But hearing all the noise and, sometimes looking at the games, obviously we always want to win. But sometimes looking at the games, maybe at the end part of the season, kind of like comparing the stats, I would say there was a little bit of pressure there. And after winning the Heisman, I mean, the winning the games is always my number one priority. Winning the Heisman, I think, was a great confidence boost to my teammates and to me, saying, okay, we are nationally recognized after we just won the Big Ten championship. We can go and we can do this. And I think it was just a great bonding moment that brought us closer together. But to be blunt with you, it did take a little bit of the edge off.
Now go to Zach Osterman from the Indianapolis Star.
Zach Osterman with the Indianapolis Star. Fernando, I guess you talked there about, you have always talked about being really process driven and trying to be very intentional about sort of like what you bring into your process, whether it's game prep, whether it's off-season development. You talked about, like the podcast you watch with Eli Manning and sort of his
Yep.
adjustment to the NFL. What do you try to bring into your process now that you know kind of what the next kind of big hurdle is here is going to be going through the combine, the draft process? Like what do you sort of bring into that process from your perspective that maybe you feel like helps you grow in the next part of your career?
Yeah, one thing that, I mean, as you mentioned, that Eli said on that podcast is surrounding yourself with the right team on the football side, on the representation side, on the financial side, on all cylinders, to make sure that your machine, and to be honest, a process is really a system, to make sure your system flows effectively and efficiently, where you can focus on football and becoming the best quarterback you can become for your team and for your teammates. And so at this stage, I am, finalizing all the components of my team, along with about, to start training for the draft, as the process got delayed a little bit because, the goal when we were able to win national championship, timeline gets pushed back a little bit. But and really kind of gain a lot of insight and advice from those that have done it before and excelled at it before, such as Eli, such as Peyton, and such as all the Mannings. So that I'm really just looking forward. This is my information gathering stage, and where I can get all this advice from all these great peer and peer mentors in order to be most effective and efficient in my process so I could best serve my teammates.
Now go to Daniel Flick from Indiana Hoosiers on SI. Daniel?
Yeah, Fernando, just kind of curious, as a guy who wasn't highly recruited, what's the last week and a half looked like? I mean, you're on with was it Fallon, right? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you've been everywhere. You had the huge welcoming at a sporting goods store here in Bloomington. Like, I mean, does any of this feel real to you? Just, as a guy who again was not highly recruited, often, not looked at by a lot of schools. Just how surreal has this last week and a half kind of looked like from when y'all landed here back in Bloomington?
Yeah, like you said, it's been a whirlwind, and I think that's a great vocabulary term to use. And it's such a blessing and pleasure to be a part of this and to be a part of this team. And one thing about this team is we kind of had our head down and our nose to the grindstone this entire season. And especially during that, the break after the Big Ten championship and the Heisman, we really kept our nose down. That led us to a fantastic playoff run. And then after, we went straight into celebrating. And now the dust has settled and everyone's moved on to their next chapters. All of, the good friends, some have stayed in Bloomington, some have gone off to draft prep. And I would say this week, the dust has settled, at least for me. And to be able to reflect and appreciate what the season has been, it's been monumental for my development, monumental for the entire team and the impact that it's had on Bloomington. And just really fortunate and blessed to be in this position, looking back on all that we've accomplished and all that we've done. And, although it's been great, all we've accomplished, all we've done, it's given me a taste of major success. And now all I can think about is, training for draft prep, because now that I have a little taste of success, I'm addicted. I'm addicted and really trying to chase that feeling again, and you know, try to chase with my new teammates and my new team. So it's been a pleasure to reflect on this past year, and hey, it's great and a real great blessing that this has happened, and now addicted to success and trying to replicate that in the next level.
Next, we'll go to Andrew Chernoff from WISH TV. Andrew, you
Hey,
need to unmute.
Fernando.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Hey, Fernando. Andrew here in Indianapolis. What's the best piece of advice that you received from Peyton in general? I know obviously he's a legend here in this state.
From Payne specifically, or the Manning family? Payton.
From Peyton in particular.
Yeah. One thing in the Manning Passing Academy that I got sorry, that some advice that I got from Peyton, the Manning Passing Academy, was it wasn't, all fluff, good advice. It was the first day we were there, we were doing play action drills, and I was under center. And being an art at that point, I was in a part of air raid offense. I'd never really been under center except in middle school when I played in wing T. I was under center, and we're throwing a hole shot, which is generally a pretty tough throw. I took my drop, did my fake, I threw it, strike. All the quarterbacks like, let's go, Fernando. Hey, good throw. And I'm just like feeling good. I'm like, I just threw a great ball in front of, Peyton Manning. And he's like, he rips into me. He's like, that's the wrong footwork. And I think that the device, especially with play action and how that translates to the NFL and how that translated to the Indiana offense, really struck with me, because it says, okay, yeah, you made a good throw, but the throw won't be there if the defenders don't come up and get attracted to the run. So that's a really great story that I always can come back to about the details. And you see how it's really easy to be caught up in, oh, I can make a good throw. Because at this point in the NFL, everyone can make the throws. It's all about the fine details. And at that point, I'm like, oh, that's what makes the Mannings great. It's the fine details. And it was, and like after, gave me advice on how to do the right footwork, and we talked through it, and, coached me phenomenally. But it really just kind of goes back to about how, small the margin is, and how efficient and how calculated you need to be to really be successful.
We'll now go to Jeff Rabjohns from Peegs.com.
Hey, Fernando, appreciate your time, man. I got two questions. The first one's a little sort of on the human level. When you have moments like, I believe the lady's name was Janet Harriet, who broke down in tears meeting you, when I don't know if you see some of this stuff, but there's things on message boards. Grown men have posted. I've been going to IU football games for 50, 60 years with going back to my grandparents taking me, and I'm so appreciative of what this football team has done. When you see those things, what sort of understanding do you have for exactly what this team means to Hoosier Nation?
I have a strong belief that sports is a bigger catalyst than just entertainment. And for my teammates, for my coaches, and me to be a catalyst of joy and an overwhelming sense of emotion for longtime Hoosiers who have been deprived of football success, of the nice lady that I met at Dick's Sporting Goods. I think that is the greatest satisfaction out of all this, when you can impact somebody else's life in a positive way. And that is my mission. I believe, as a Catholic man, I believe that that God and Jesus Christ made me a football player in order to spread His word, but not only that, but also to give joy to other people and to give meaning to other people, whether it's my teammates, my coaches, me, whether my mom and her story, whatever it shall be. I think it's always about trying to make an impact. And whenever stories like that occur, or I'm able to interact in a way where I'm able to see or able to hear about somebody else getting overwhelmed with joy, or just bringing small acts of pleasure or joy to somebody, it is extremely fulfilling, and I believe that is my mission.
Thanks, man. And then the football question was, okay, what's next? What are you going to do at the combine, and what do you plan to do at the IU Pro Day?
Yeah, I think that the combine and IU Pro, the just want to first say that the Senior Bowls, the East West Shrine and the Senior Bowl, I really appreciate them inviting me to participate. And it was a decision that discussed with advisors, saying, hey, we already played a lot of football, and it's just such a quick turnaround, especially with the body through 16 games. But I look forward to attending the combine and look forward to participating in the IU Pro Day. And I don't want to give exact specifics or commitments for either, but I really look forward. I look forward to the combine because I've always, watched it on TV growing up, being a big NFL Network junkie, just sitting, sitting on the couch and watching those highlights and, watching the reruns of the combine. And also, I think it's going to be a great. The national championship was, but kind of like last hurrah with the IU teammates at the IU Pro Day, and it's going to be great to see him again after what's going to feel like an eternity, but it's only a 2-month period because I believe the Pro Day is late March, early April.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
We have a submitted question for Archie. Archie, from watching Fernando Mendoza play this year and through the postseason, how do you think his game translates to the NFL?
No, it's always a big step. I don't care at what level you play in college, and I don't care how much success you have in college. It's a big step. It's a faster game, bigger, stronger, faster. But getting to know Fernando, uh, recognizing his work ethic, recognizing I think his desire and what he wants to do. I think he'll make a great transition to the next level. He'll work hard this spring. He'll do what he's supposed to do. The draft will take care of himself. He'll go to a team, and he'll do great. Y'all can see why we're so excited about recognizing him as the Manning Award winner. We saw what kind of player he was, but we've seen what kind of individual and person he is, and it'll be a transition, but he'll work at it, and he'll be great in pro football.
Fernando, we have one final question that was submitted as well. You've had an amazing string of accomplishments. What does it mean to wrap up your college career with a national award like the Manning Award?
Like you said, I've been blessed and fortunate, and blessed by God to have all these great achievements and be able to celebrate them with my teammates, with my coaches, and with the whole great program of the Indiana Hoosiers. And winning the national championship was great, and it has been such a blessing throughout this entire year. And if you could, that's weird, but if you can picture like a Sunday, winning national championships, like the ice cream, and maybe the Heisman's a little bit of whipped cream, but the Manning Award is really the cherry on top. It wouldn't be complete without the Manning Award, as the Manning Award is the only award that recognizes postseason feats, and I believe that's what's most recognized with quarterbacks, is how they perform in the postseason, and along to be awarded and recognized with and associated with such a prestigious award from such a fantastic family on and off the field.
Fernando, thank you very much. And Archie, thank you very much. And both of you taking the time, and also all of the media. We really appreciate that. Archie, if you have any final words for Fernando.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for joining in today. It was a wonderful press conference. really fun for me to kind of hook up again with that Indiana crowd and Indianapolis and some of these people and some of these names. It's great memories. We will look forward to having Fernando, hopefully some of his family. I want to get his dad down here. We don't set a date to present the Manning Award. And by the way, on behalf of the Mannings, again, thank the Sugar Bowl for creating the Manning Award and for having it, sponsoring it each and every year. We'll find a time that's convenient for Fernando, hopefully his dad, get him down to New Orleans, let the Sugar Bowlers meet him, maybe a few other people. There's some Indiana alums in the area we'll invite. We'll have a great time with Fernando, and we wish him the best. Thank y'all so much for joining us today.